Elements
of
Story
in Matilda
by Anna Rawlinson
and Key Pedraza.
Table of Contents. Part 1 is the introduction, Part 2 is story elements, and Part 3 is implications.
The first part is the introduction, which is a brief description of Matilda by Roald Dahl. Matilda is written by Roald Dahl and was published on October 1st, 1988. The story revolves around a very intelligent girl named Matilda Wormwood. Matilda is born into a family that does not appreciate or understand her intellectual abilities, and her parents neglect her in favor of her older brother.
Despite facing adversity at home and the cruelty of the headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, at school, Matilda discovers she has telekinetic powers and love in her teacher, Miss Honey. Matilda uses her new telekinetic abilities to stand up against the injustices she faces and to help those around her, including Miss Honey. Part 2 is the story elements. The story elements of Matilda described in literature for children.
The first story element is the plot. In literature for children, the textbook states a plot makes connections between various incidents. Specifically, there are 3 types of plot: dramatic, episodic, parallel, and the journey archetype. A dramatic plot is focused on a single conflict that needs to be corrected. An episodic plot is every chapter is an individual story that is resolved and has similar characters or themes. A parallel plot is when 2 or more stories are ongoing in one book. The journey is when a hero goes on a quest and either returns home, circular, or makes a new home, linear.
In Matilda, the plot of Matilda is most closely resembling a dramatic plot, with the main conflict being Matilda's ongoing abuse and neglect. As seen in the story, the parents looked upon Matilda in particular as nothing more than a scab. It also follows the journey archetype, with Matilda finding a new family and home with Miss Honey, her teacher, as seen when Dahl wrote, "I would love to have Matilda. I would look after her with loving care." Part 2 is conflict. In literature for children, the textbook defines conflict as what makes a plot gripping, which means that it is the issue at hand that needs solving. There are multiple types of plot. Protagonist versus another, an issue between 2 or more characters. Protagonist versus society, a battle against the norms of society. Protagonist versus nature, a battle for surviving in the wilderness. And protagonist versus self, an inner struggle, either emotional or intellectual.
In Matilda, the main conflict in Matilda is protagonist versus another. The other parties in Matilda are her parents, the Wormwoods, and Miss Trunchbull, the headmistress. Matilda wants to learn and be loved, and the antagonists prevent both of her goals, especially Miss Trunchbull in school. As seen in Matilda, you are a vile, repulsive, repellent, malicious little brute. Miss Trunchbull and Matilda conflict due to Miss Trunchbull's disdain for her and their opposing personalities. Character types. In literature for children, character types are the roles that people in the story are assigned to. For example, the principal characters of the story include the protagonist and the antagonist. The categories found in every book are the protagonist, the main character and person the book follows. Antagonist, the person who directly opposes the protagonist. Supporting, important to continuing the story but not the main character. Foil, directly opposes a character in their values or actions.
In Matilda, the main breakdown of characters in Matilda are Matilda as the protagonist, Miss Trunchbull as the main antagonist, her parents as minor antagonists, and Miss Honey as a supporting character. Clearly, Matilda is the protagonist, as the book follows her, but she does not have a direct foil, while Miss Honey does. Miss Trunchbull is Miss Honey's foil, as they have directly opposing personalities, beliefs, and relationships with others.
Tone. In literature for children, the textbook defines tone as the way an author treats the subject matter. There are multiple types of tone in literature. Didacticism, a story with a lesson meant to teach. Sentimentalism, to overtly show or evoke emotion. Humor, having lighthearted and funny moments. Parody, imitating another piece of media. Irony, contrast between reality and the first appearance.
In Matilda, the tone in Matilda is comprised of humor and didacticism, as it uses humor to highlight the absurdities and injustices in the lives of the characters, particularly Matilda's interactions with her neglectful parents and Miss Trunchbull, as seen when Miss Honey describes Miss Trunchbull. If you get on the wrong side of Miss Trunchbull, she can liquidize you like a carrot in a kitchen blender. Clearly, this won't actually happen, and the humor is in the ridiculous warning.
The third and final part is the pedagogical implications. The pedagogical implications and how they can be used in the classroom.
Reader's theater. Activity. Start by dividing the class into small groups and assign each group a key scene from the book. Then instruct them to create a script for a reader's theater performance based on their assigned scene using their own words.
Engagement. Students can then perform their scenes in front of the class using expressive reading and gestures. This activity promotes collaboration, public speaking skills, and a deeper understanding of the structure of narrative stories. It also allows students to explore the emotional feelings the characters experience and the overall tone of the book.
This is an example of reader's theater.
There were 3 scenes assigned, and each scene had to be rewritten in their own words. Scene 1 is Matilda and her father fighting. Scene 2 is Miss Honey's conversation with Miss Trunchbull. And Scene 3 is the grand finale.
Character analysis. Activity. Have students choose a character from Matilda and conduct a character analysis. Then encourage them to delve into the character's personality traits, motivations, and how they evolve throughout the story.
Engagement. After the analysis, students have a greater understanding of the character and will be able to connect with the character they may not have liked at first, and get to better understand their motives. This activity not only reinforces comprehension, but also encourages a deeper understanding of character development in books.
Example of character analysis. Jennifer Honey, or Miss Honey, is a beacon of kindness in Matilda and is loving amidst adversity. Her gentle demeanor and unwavering support for Matilda reveals that she has strong resilience and compassion. Despite her tragic past with the cruel Miss Trunchbull, Miss Honey exemplifies the transformative power of empathy, shaping a nurturing haven for Matilda's intellect to flourish. Character journaling. Activity. Ask students to choose a character for Matilda. It can be any character. Then instruct them to make a journal entry from the perspective of that character, detailing their thoughts, feelings, and experiences at a point in the story.
Engagement. This journaling activity can be done at various intervals throughout the reading of the book, and students can try a variety of characters. For example, students might write one entry after a significant event involving a certain character, then a different story moment from another character. This activity not only encourages students to emphasize with the characters, but also enhances their understanding of character dynamics and motivations. These are 2 examples of character journaling. Dear Journal, today at Cruncham Hall, Miss Trunchbull punished innocent students. I used my telekinetic powers to teach her a lesson. It felt right to stand up for what's fair. Miss Honey noticed, but I'll keep my abilities a secret. I hope the world becomes a kinder place. Matilda.
Journal. Another tiresome day at Cruncham Hall. Students rebelled against my perfectly reasonable discipline. That peculiar Matilda seemed involved. Nonsense about telekinesis. I won't tolerate disobedience. The girl is trouble. I'll squash her defiance and maintain order. My regime will prevail, no matter the cost. Miss Trunchbull. These are our resources. Roald Dahl's Matilda.
And Literature for Children, A Short Introduction by David Russell.